that roar when you ran out just puts goosebumps on the back of your neck.
He strikes it!
It's not just what he does with the football, it's what he does with his boot.
It's great rugby league, the man AJ Brimson.
Just let him grow into a footballer and he's going to be a star.
It's been pitched by Ben Hunt. Go Dozer! Ben Hunt wins the Origin for Queensland.
Well, hello and welcome. Thanks for joining us. A very special Origin edition of Queenslander, proudly brought to you by Forex. And how good is this, boys? They're actually running a special competition across Origin time. Share your postcode pride to win a trip to Hamilton Island with the Maroons, or $25,000 cash. You've got to take the trip with the Maroons, surely. The entry's simple. You scan the QR code, upload a photo of you and your best Queensland Maroons apparel. The more creative, the better, the more chances you have to win. And actually, some have been sent in early on, boys. You've had a look at these photos. You liking these early entries?
Yeah, some great shots there. I think everybody would be in a bit of a thought process, Adam, trying to work out how they can make it look best for the judges to try and get that position up the ladder. But yeah, there's some very creative people involved with these.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of man caves / Forex man caves out there, and the. Yeah, look, are we winning on the amount of Forex you can display, or is it the location? Because
I like the beach one. I think that's up near Cairns, near far north Queensland.
Yeah. Well, that's a beautiful part of the world.
Yeah.
Not other than holding the Forex, but yeah, that's a great pick, that one there. I don't know, that's up near Cairns, yeah? Look at the water.
I think that might be Palm Cove, potentially.
Right.
Great part of the world. And I've got a soft spot for the 4811. My parents live in 4814, so it's a suburb next to. That's a Townsville one, that one. So plenty of North Queensland spirit. And I think the other one's a Sunny Coast one.
Yeah, I think the bloke in 4811, I think he's been told to get out of the house and go in the back shed and put up as much memorabilia as you want and drink out there.
Go and clean up.
And no doubt there'll be plenty of Forex consumed next week, Origin 2 at Suncorp Stadium, right across the state. We now know the makeup of both sides. First of all, Queensland, 3 changes, all injury forced. Your initial thoughts on that, Wal?
Yeah, I think it was quite interesting. I was going to be very interested to hear from one of the selectors talking about it actually on the decision-making process. But yeah, it seemed to be very cool, calm and collected. No panic, obviously. None really needed considering we're one game up in the series. But I think it's quite good. I think there's been the biggest question of all has been on Mo Fatuaka, on his position in the side, and having just come from the training session, watching him, he's pretty keen. Yeah. Every time he got the ball, he was almost running through whoever was in front of him. So he's one of those players I think that everyone's fairly keen to see his introduction to the game. But having watched him previously, I've got no doubts that he's going to fit into this situation quite calmly.
And Lockie, all 3 of those guys have played Origin before. How helpful is that?
Yeah, I guess the positive out of it all is that when we're talking about replacing players, there's a few options in those positions. So, obviously, Christian Welch down in Melbourne, he's obviously in the conversation about coming in to replace Jai, but Mo got that. He's been playing well at the Titans. I thought his game on the weekend was outstanding. And then, Jeremiah Nanai, who's young, fresh, and probably up until his last game for the Cowboys, wasn't showing what he was capable of. But, he was good last time he played, and I think he'll look forward to playing for the Maroons again at Suncorp. And then, there's obviously a lot of talk about the Selwyn Cobbo decision. And, what Billy's been consistent with is about picking guys that are 100% fit, ready to play. And he is carrying a hip pointer injury, and I think most of us would have experienced those, and they're quite tough to deal with. And Xavier Coates, who has been there before, is a very accomplished player, very good, and is a big threat in the air.
Yeah, you mentioned the coach is pretty keen to watch them go right from the opening training session, Lockie, and having experienced that today, gone and watched them, there is no doubt about anybody fitness-wise, and they're already at 100 kilometres an hour racing around to be fit and to get their game in order. It certainly seems as though there is no doubt at all about anybody's fitness in the team, and that's just the way that Billy loves it.
Is it the start of a bit of a generational change for the Maroons? Because you take out maybe DCE, Munster and Hunt, everyone else is quite young in that team?
Yeah, I remember as we, I guess a lot of the older guys had a bit of, not so much leeway, but they'd put a bit of credit in the bank when we'd won all those series in a row because of the loyalty aspect. And, the same, I guess Queensland won the series last year, but I think, what's important is that the guys that are coming in, obviously, they're capable. They come in, 100% fit, and they bring an energy to the team. And I think that's, what these players do. They've got some youth and they've got some enthusiasm about them. But the experienced guys that have missed out, Felice is probably the most notable one. Like, his career's not over at Origin level. He just hasn't played footy for a month, and so it's up to him now to fight his way back in. But it's a good sign that you can bring in kids that have played limited amount of Origin, but know that they're capable of doing the job.
And the speed that was exerted at today's training session, I thought was unbelievable, outstanding. They weren't there to just go through the moves and make sure that everyone was quite aware. They were putting in their best efforts, and certainly the speed of the session in the production of the game plan was extremely impressive, really impressive. And I think it's obviously Billy's he's ready there. He's pretty cocky at the moment, but he knows that one mistake could be the difference between success and failure for the entire series.
Is it easier to pick a younger team for Game 2 after you've won Game 1, where it's you've got, like you said, credits in the bank, like a bit more leeway there?
The biggest risk for us this week or this game is complacency. So I'm sure Billy would have addressed that at the start. And it's not about having a mindset, we're not going to be complacent on the night. They've got to lead by their actions every day of the week, and obviously they've started well at training. And you talk about the enthusiasm. Well, obviously the youth brings that, but I don't care. I don't think it makes a difference whether they've played 2 games or 20 games of Origin. They know that this is an opportunity for Queensland, and they don't want to let it slip.
Yeah, and I'm sure the coaching team that's in operation there will guarantee that no way in the world will they go onto the field for Game 2 in an overconfident mood. They'll have them out there, and you can't take it the other way, saying that they're going to be fearful of defeat. That could be the wrong attitude to take onto the field, but they'll certainly be determined to go out there and reproduce the performance and perhaps even improve on it, knowing that they're going to get full support from a wonderful home crowd.
Does Billy need to play down Queensland's imposing record at Suncorp Stadium or embrace it? And also, given the fact that Queensland's actually lost Game 2 5 years in a row. Yeah,
it's not easy to win the first 2 games back to back. So, there's a big challenge in front of us. We can't just assume playing at home is going to be enough. We're going to have to go out and earn the right to win the game. And look, I was probably more of the talk us down and build them up.
Yeah,
that was my sort of approach. I don't know what you were like, but Billy's probably, he might be a little bit different, but I was always, I was always trying to let my teammates know that we've got to work hard to win this, and that's talking the other opposition up.
Yeah, dangle the carrot in front of them, be fearful of defeat and determined to reward the fans that came out and your teammates. And overconfidence certainly will not allow that. And I'd be very surprised when it comes kick-off if this team are in an overconfident mood. I think they'll be very determined to go out there and reward the fans, reward their teammates, reward the coach, but reward themselves as well for a performance that they'd only dreamed about. We've got the opportunity now, and these players have, to be able to make themselves very happy men.
And with Selwyn Cobbo out, Xavier Coates comes in on that right-hand wing position. What changes, Lockie, tactically for Queensland with that switch?
Not a lot, I don't think. I reckon, if anything, probably Xavier is more of a target in the air.
Kicking, yeah.
So bringing in that sort of little pop kick, they call it, for the winger. And even, I remember we used to do this with Israel Folau, and I don't know whether, I wouldn't even know if Billy's even talked about it, but we used to bring Israel in, and we used to pop kick to the goalposts.
Yeah.
Because he was jumping up against the 6 and the 7. So, that could be a tactic where you bring him infield late in the count. So, But he's...
And then I could potentially do that as well. They do that at the Cowboys with him.
Yeah, with Nenai, yeah. So without having any insight to the game plan, that could be something we see in this game.
And you like Xavier Coates as well too. While you saw a fair bit of him in the Broncos before he moved to the Storm, he was actually in the team for Game 1 last year. He was among the top 2 wingers, but he got injured. You like what he brings?
Yeah, I do. I think he's a terrific fella. He's determined. You don't hear a lot from him.
You just see him smiling all the time. That's it. Yeah,
he's the happiest footballer I've ever seen. He's always in a good mood out there. He might do something wrong in the field, come up with a knock on. He'll get up with a smile on his face, and I don't think as a captain, I used to take that too well from my teammates if I saw a smile after that. But he's very determined. He has a will to win, very determined to succeed, and is a very important member of the team game. But he's got everything about him. He's got size, speed, and I think that he's got the will to win, the determination not to let his teammates or the fans down. But it's an interesting choice. I think there are a lot of people that sort of said, why did this come about? We didn't really do anything wrong, neither did the players. What's the reason for the change? But changes are only made when it comes to the height of state of origin if the selectors believe and the coach and the captain believe that it's absolutely necessary. And obviously that was a choice for this one, because one thing you've got to say is Coates certainly is not up to letting teammates down.
Yep, and a couple of changes to the extended squad. We see Big Red, Corey Horsburgh. Fatty will be happy. He's 19th man. The 18th man is AJ Brimson. Is that maybe an indication of he could be at number 14 moving forward when Ben Hunt eventually retires? Harry Grant will no doubt start. Do you see?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yep.
I mean, AJ's. You play him fullback, play him in the halves, play him at 9. I reckon you could put him in the centres. He's just. He's a bit like we used to have Sean Berrigan as 14. Then Cooper went into that role. Good footy players that are tough and might not be tall or big in stature, but they know how to be physical.
Yeah, I enjoy watching him. I've loved watching him, his last few games in particular. Again, as you just said, he's not the biggest bloke on the field. He's physical, he's confrontational, he'll be involved with it, but he's very determined and has a massive will to win. He hates losing, as all footy players do, I guess, but what he's been able to present for the Titans, I think, has been extremely positive, and he will be able to fit a number of positions should they become necessary.
And what about New South Wales? Are you surprised they made so many changes? And they've got quite a few players under injury clouds. Cam Murray, Liam Martin can't train fully till captain's run. Latrell Mitchell's in doubt, and they've just brushed Nico Hines. Poor bloke gets 8 minutes of Origin, and they've cut him loose.
Well, they're doing a Queensland on Queensland. They're in disarray. No one can train. We're the favourites apparently, but I reckon we're underdogs still. But yeah, and again, that's my point I made earlier, that if we get any sort of comfort or complacent about the fact that we just merely need to turn up and the crowd will make us play well and we'll beat the opposition because they haven't been able to pick the team nor train as well as they would have liked, then we're asking for trouble.
Oh, yeah. And we've got to remember we needed to produce arguably our best performance for a little while or a long time to win Game 1 and just got home. Got home at the end. So if we offer anything less than that, we can virtually guarantee ourselves that we'll be listening to the violin in the dressing room and the coach screaming above it. You can never underestimate New South Wales. They've got 3 or 4 or 5 times the number of players that we have, and every one of them feels as proud as what Queenslanders do to represent their state. So they will be inspired by a loss, realising that they've probably got to produce their best to retain a position in the New South Wales side, a similar intention that the Queenslanders always have, to be able to win a game, play the best for their mates, play the best for their coach and the people that support them.
And Mitchell Moses gets the number 7 jersey ahead of Adam Reynolds. What's the difference between his game and Nathan Cleary's game? Huge boots to fill.
I would probably, obviously both got great kicking games, great passing games. Defensively, I think Nathan maybe a little bit more physical than than Mitchell, but I would also say that Nathan takes the line on a lot, particularly close to the try line.
Yeah, he scores a lot of tries.
So that would be probably just a bit more physicality defensively and runs the ball closer to the line would be the only two things I see, as a big difference anyway. Well.
Yeah, very similar, Lockie. Yeah, I actually enjoy watching Nathan play. I think he's very good. I've enjoyed his performances. As we got closer to Origin, it was interesting to see that he was the one man that Queensland were probably most happy to see pick up an injury without being too nasty to it. But Mitchell Moses, I think that he certainly has been pretty good. It's been the inconsistent form of his club side it's probably made him a little bit questionable. But I think show him an opportunity of the biggest game he'll play in his life, and he won't let his teammates or his supporters down. He'll give it his best, and he certainly has deserved a selection in the side. It will ensure that Queensland defence will have to be at its best.
He's earned the right to get back in there, so well done to Mitchell. I reckon what might give Freddie a bit of comfort, though, is how well the Panthers went without Nathan, the other night. So.
Were you surprised they didn't go Adam Reynolds?
I was, actually. I was. But anyway, that's...
With your Broncos cap, you're happy?
With me, Broncos, I'm happy, and I guess I was just being a supporter of his to get another start, but they didn't. But that's not our decision, and I'm sure Adam will keep playing good footy.
Yeah, I was surprised too, Lockie, just like you. I thought for sure, even if it was to make sure that it worked on both sides, that we were going to see him attacking in the sky blue jersey, and it would have inspired the New South Wales team to be able to do it. But with him not in the team, I think it was a surprise. I was expecting to see him there, but it certainly will inspire the rest of the guys to be able to produce something. Moses is a guy that can do that, but probably has been struggling a little bit for his best form, and I don't mean to be insulting there, but it's been the form of his club team that really hasn't allowed him to reach his full potential this season.
And they say imitation's the best form of flattery. Hooker-wise, New South Wales cottoned on and starting to copy what Queensland's doing with Reece Robson coming in and Damien Cook. You think they'll use them similar to the way Ben Hunt and Harry Grant played for Queensland?
100%. I mean, that was, I guess the fact that Nico couldn't get onto the field in game one because there wasn't really an injury, that allowed him to get into the game. You basically got a player there that you're looking to inject into the game, not like you just sometimes those players that aren't as versatile, or I guess what I'm trying to say is you have a game plan when you go into those games, and Nico was basically there, to inject into the game at a certain point, but I guess the workload on Appy, probably took its toll.
Yeah.
And realised that they need to go with a second hooker, but to change their game plan up, because I don't think it was the most effective bench in game one for New South Wales.
Yeah, and speaking about that, Lockie, I think the selection of Reece in the starting side would probably be a real indication on what their game plan is going to be, how they intend to start, and start enormously fast to almost try and run Queensland's defence down and make them tired. Then you give the opportunity for Cookie to come on the field.
Yeah.
And I honestly regard, I think I've spoken.
You think
to
he's
you,
the best hooker in the
I think
comp?
he's the best in the comp. He's the best hooker I've seen for a while. His creative skills have been fantastic, and I've loved watching him over the last few years. Even when he wore a New South Wales jersey, loved the way that he put his game into place, and I just hope he plays, has an absolute shocker in the Origin match, and misses every tackle that comes his way.
Well said, as a true blue Queenslander there. Well, we can't wait. Origin 2 just down the road at Suncorp Stadium. And just a reminder of that Forex campaign too, the postcode Pride. Life's good when you give a Forex, so share your postcode Pride to win potentially a trip to Hamilton Island with the Maroons. How good? We'll see you next week on Queenslander.